This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Jade joining us here today. Yes, Tarot by Nature and Soul Impressions, the name of our companies. And again, it's Jade Indigo joining us today live. We're going to talk today a little bit about ourselves, some trauma-informed spiritual life coaching services, and all that she provides, as well as energy healing and so much more. How are you today?
I'm excellent, thank you.
Getting into the tropical season, but you're in Ottawa, right?
I'm in Ottawa. It's a little cold here. Yeah, we have snow,
This
which
is positive thinking, wishful thinking, and this is not my backdrop. I'm really not here with the bridge behind me in the city, so I'm in New York though, but still, it's great to see it, and it just I don't know. There's something about bringing you into a time and place, and by looking at that, and I love how I don't know how you get an animated one. I want an animated one. That is actually cool, and it's inspiring, and it's putting me in a better mood. Better
it's my
energy
happy
vibes
place.
over
Yep.
here, Jade. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we begin today, darling.
Sure. So my name is Jade Indigo. I help people to really at the core of it is I help people to help themselves. So to heal their traumas, to um, find their soul's purpose and then their life purpose through clearing out their subconscious, all the past traumas and hurts and deep emotional things that they've gone through in their lives that are really stopping them from living life to the fullest.
And
I Yeah,
go ahead.
and I do a few other things as well. Like I do psychic tarot readings, and I do mediumship as well to connect people with their lost loved or their past loved ones, and energy healing, as you mentioned. And the energy healing is very often done in conjunction with the trauma healing.
Thank you. And I mean, you're also a medium, you're an empath, you're a tarot reader. There's a lot of different ways to kind of, describe yourself, which I know you just want to say, I'm me. But
Yes,
you are
yes,
connected and you want to help people and you want to help people heal
exactly.
from their traumas. And we're diving into self. What today to start?
Let's talk about self-worth, our self-talk,
Yes.
hope. Um, I- a lot of people that I speak to, um, at the end of the day, they're just, yes, they've suffered all these traumas and hurts, and at the end of the day, they just don't feel worthy of anything, right? They don't
Yeah.
feel worthy of anything good. They don't feel worthy of abundance. They don't feel worthy of joy. They don't feel worthy of love. They don't feel worthy of a good job, like so, and often, like I said, often that is because of our experiences that we've lived through, the tough times that we've lived through. But what that does is it stops people from really living life to the fullest, right? They start living life as just something that's happening to them. They life just becomes something to get through, right? Until the end when we're on our deathbed and then we can say, yes, I lived my life. But that's not really what any of us that's not really how any of us want to live life, I don't think. Right. And I know I don't. I'm sure you don't as well.
I
You
don't.
don't
You
either.
could speak for me, sweetie. No, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. So it's, when we feel like we're unworthy for whatever reason that might happen, we just stop going after things, right? We stop
Yeah.
dreaming, we stop striving for things. Um, our lives just become this long string of days, and nobody wants to live like that. But so many of us get caught in that loop, right? Um, I'm having a tough time with whatever finances, with family, with children, and I'm just trying to get through day to day to day, and with no real hope of better days ahead.
Mm.
So this is what I do is I help people to sort of try to get out of that loop, to bring back some hope, to bring back That's and really hope is the most important thing, right? For all of us, our dreams are the most important thing. So, um, hope for ourselves, hope for our families, hope for our future, all of these things. That, if you're in a space where you're going through such
Hmm.
times that you can't have any hope,
Yeah.
um, that's really like, that really is the one thing that you can work on, you can change to help help your life. So we the first thing that we can do is to practice self-compassion,
Okay.
right? Give yourself some grace. So many people that I run into they're so tough on themselves. I don't know if you're ever like this, but you do something silly and then it's like, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so this. Oh, I'm so that, right? They're so hard on themselves. But when I ask them,
Hmm.
if you had a loved one or a good friend that
Yeah.
came to you and with that experience, what would you say to them, right? The answer is very different, right? They would never say to their child or to their friend, "Oh yeah, you're stupid."
Mm-mm.
Right?
No.
They would say, no, things just happen and it's okay. We pick ourselves up and we continue moving on, right? Really that's really the number one thing. So I thought that today I would give a bit of an example of, some of the coaching that I do. I did get
Oh,
permission from one of
okay.
someone that I worked with that was in a really rough time in their lives. And I think this is a story that a lot of us can resonate with. So hopefully, and then you can ask me any questions as we go. But
Sure.
so this lady, obviously, I'll talk high level, right? Because I do want to protect her
Yep.
identity. But
Mm-hmm.
this lady was a very successful woman in the financial industry. Or is, sorry, not was. She has two toddlers running around. She's a
Oh,
single mom and you know her job was 60 hours a week, and then she had, like I said, she had two toddlers running around under 5. um and she had this amazing career, amazing family. Yes, she was on her own, um and she was exhausted all the time, right? Just
okay.
exhausted. And what she kept focusing on was the fact that her home was always a disaster. She would say, "Oh, my home is disgusting. It looks like a pig pen." Um, and that was the one thing that just made her so upset and hopeless in a way. Um, and really, you know, kids to me. I have two. I don't know how many you have, but kids equal exhaustion,
2, 8,
right?
and 10. And I feel like you're speaking to me. My house is a disaster right now myself, and it makes me feel so horrible with the piles and the Halloween decorations and the kids' clothes and the one room we can't even open the door. It's like hoarding, but it's not. It's just I don't have time to put stuff away, and it's just so. Thank you for sharing this. I think a lot of us parents can empathize with this. Hmm.
Absolutely. And you know what makes it worse is when you go to a friend's home who also has, children, maybe your same age range or a different age range, and you walk in and their home is spotless, right? It makes you feel so much worse, right? Like it makes you feel like you're a failure because your home it's not clean like theirs. But what you probably don't know is that before you came over, they probably spent every minute, probably all night cleaning their house so that when you came over, it could look perfect,
Yeah.
right? So we don't, all these things happen that are just, we do it to ourselves in a sense, right? We do it to ourselves. But, what really we needed to work with her on is, you know, yes, you love your kids to death. It's really, really, really important to you to spend time with them. You have no choice but but to be a mom. You have no choice but to work so that you can put food on the table and pay the mortgage and all these things. Um, and you are also very important, right? Is the house clean? The fact that there's, a few dishes in the sink really all that important? Or is it more important to have some fun time, some play time with your kids, right? Or is it more important to just do some self-care? And this was the other thing, right? She was
Mhm.
just focused all the time on, every minute was work, or being a mom and everything that's involved with that. And she didn't get to vacuuming the floors. And she would just her self-talk started to be, I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I'm not good enough. So we really needed to switch that switch
Yeah.
that around. So the number one thing I helped her to do was to start focusing on herself.
Yeah.
It's really important, especially mothers, I feel in particular, and fathers too. But I feel like mothers just have been, as girls, we were brought up this way that, we don't count as much as
Mhm.
other people. We don't count as much as our families, as our kids. And so we're giving, giving, giving. But if you think about us in our lives as a glass of water, if you're constantly emptying the water by caring for other people all the time, at some point your cup's going to be empty, right? And then you're not, well, what are you going to do, right? Then you're exhausted, you're depressed, your life just goes down the toilet, right? It's that same cliche, what they say on airplanes every time, right? Put
Yep.
your own mask first
First.
on. Are
Yes,
you?
moms.
Yes,
Guilty.
exactly. So, and she, at first she was like, no, I don't have time. I don't have time. And gradually, I said to her, I don't care if it's just 5 minutes, right? I don't care if it's just 5 minutes, paint your nails. Reach out to a friend and have a conversation with a friend that makes
Yep.
you feel good. Um, Veg out and watch TV if that's what makes you feel good, right? Like just do something that is just for you, that fills your cup so that it, you can in turn give back to give back to others, give back to your kids, give back to your work. Um, and that really that started, as hard as it was at the beginning
Yep.
for her to do that. It actually did help. And actually the biggest crux was what I said to her was, when she first said, I don't have time for that. Um, what are you teaching your children by saying that you are not important, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us want to, not in these days anyways, I don't think any of us want to teach our children that they are not important. They're not as important as anyone else, right? So by focusing on your own self-care, you're also teaching your
Yeah.
children that their lives matter, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that was the one thing. And then, to get back to the her focus about the house. Because really like the her biggest challenge, I guess, was that she didn't feel in control, right? She didn't feel in control of her life, that it was being controlled by work and by her children, and everything else in life was just always you know, she was always running around, was always crazy. So we started working on little things, right? Little measurable things that she could do. So, for example, in the morning when she's making her coffee before she wakes up her children, what's one small thing you can do? I can throw laundry in. Perfect. While you're waiting for the coffee to brew, go throw some laundry in, right? And then after the kids get dropped off at the daycare, then she could just throw that back in before she jumps onto her first meeting. So it's little things, right? Little things that she could do that then could build success, that then started to give her more control of her, or a sense of more control over her life. Um, and the hope came back,
Yeah.
right? So hope came back. She didn't feel like
Oh,
a total failure anymore. She started feeling like, yes, this too shall end, right? At some point,
yeah.
you know, our kids don't need us as much as they do
I'm waiting.
when they're you're waiting. Yes, it takes a while. Mine are now
For
adults,
sure.
and I can tell you that they still need a lot of my time. But you know, at some point, it's definitely a lot less than when they were 5,
Yes.
right? So um, it's and it's every stage of their lives is a change for us too. Right? So it's really important that self-care is just so important. So important for all of us to take care of. And you know, at the end of the day, it's about priorities, right? So like I said, you have no choice but to work. So, you know, unless you're independently wealthy, you have no choice but to take care of your children. But other things, you know, they're negotiable. They're negotiable. But if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anyone. Um, One of the other things that really, and sometimes it means, you know, thinking outside the box. I don't know if you have, did you ever participate in any mommy groups, for example?
Oh yeah, when I was little, my kids were littler, yes. Oh gosh, no more. I don't even have time for that anymore. But I used to. It was so much fun. I used to at this little church we had where I used to live, and it would walk down the block, and there was like mommy playtime on this day, different craft days on this day. It was great. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. And
feel
so
better
this
when people around you empathize and understand.
Exactly. So what this lady actually ended up doing was brilliant. She started to have, they would have, you know, they would usually get together to have play dates and whatnot. But what they started doing was actually alternating whose home the play dates were in. And so while the play date was at her friend's home, she was able to go home and vacuum
Relax.
the floors, right? Or just have a bath and have a
Yeah,
glass of wine, right? And they alternated this so that, you know, the other moms would also be able to do the same
yeah.
thing, right? And help each other. Then they started to have you know, going back to the spirituality thing and like just, you know, a little bit of meditation and journaling. They started a mommy and me yoga practice
Yeah.
where they were actually able to bring their children and get their children involved in that. So again, focusing on the self-care, but also focusing on getting the kids involved in their own self-care because they
And
always think it's fun, right? Like
yeah, of course
especially
they do.
doing
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, so she's you know, she now doesn't call herself lazy. She stops herself when she thinks of, you know, when the negative self-talk comes up, she's now able to stop it in its tracks and, you know, actually say what reality actually is and then move forward. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, reframing her thoughts, she's not lazy, she's just very exhausted and she deserves to practice some self-care. So even just like little things like that, you know, reaching out to a friend or painting her nails or, you know, whatever it is, it made a huge difference in her life. And so that's just one of, you know, something that I helped someone through. And it sounds so simple, right? But it's when we're stuck, and I'm sure you know, right? You have a busy career as well. You have children, you know, you're always running around, and the we can't help it sometimes, you know, that negative self-talk. We always feel like we should be able to do more. Um, the you know, do more, do better, all that stuff. But when she started to focus on her, you know, on herself, on her self-compassion, um, the other thing we focused on next was gratitude. So focusing on all the things that she does have to be grateful for, right? So she started a journal, and every day, not every day was, I'm grateful for my children. Some days it was just, I'm grateful for that cup of coffee, right? Um, I call it anti-murdery juice. Right. I'm just grateful. And that's okay, right? That is okay. But it starts focusing again, it starts reframing your mind. It starts refocusing your mind on the things that are actually really important. Um, yeah, as something as small as a cup of coffee. It's just great. And that, all these things essentially stopped her from feeling so helpless and getting some more control over her life for her and her kids. And then the other benefit is she was able to pass that on also to her friends, right? So through this, like she not only helped herself, but she also helped her friends. So it's kind of a chain reaction that
Making notes, by the way.
oh, okay.
No, this lady sounds just like me. Honestly, I'm like, I just wish I could get it together. Like this is, but I have to. I have to.
I have to. And the question is why, right? And it's repeating. So what we often do in the coaching is you actually repeat why like 3 times, right? So whatever the first answer is, then it's another why. Well, because of this, but why, right? Like you're really drilling down to why is it so important? Is it really so important? Or are you just, is it just um your own feelings of feeling inadequate because you feel you're looking at someone else's life from the outside and seeing, oh, they have a picture perfect life. Why can't I be like that? Right? But the reality is they don't have a picture perfect life. They're just like you. They're just struggling the same way.
Sure. Oh my goodness. All right. So self-care, self-talk, self-worth. What else? What else? On.
Um, so yeah, so those are like really those are the biggest things, that I've been helping her with. And again, like on the spirituality side, it's baby steps, right? She started them to meditate. She started
Mm-hmm.
the yoga. Um, and like I said, she actually started a baby and me yoga group with her friends. So that's been amazing. And helping her friends to talk, they get together now. They actually hire a babysitter and they all get together at each other's home, in one home, and they have just I don't know if I can swear on this. I don't want to swear, but like
You
you know,
can say whatever you want, but yes, go ahead. It's up to you.
okay, so just they're called like she calls it a bitching session, right? Where they just
Yeah, darn right. I'm with you on that one. Yep.
and have some wine and commiserate, and like you said, it's always a shared load is an easier load to to deal with, right?
Really is.
So they started realizing, and the story I told you about, at the beginning when I said, she would go to her friend's house and her friend's house would be spotless. Um, when she shared that how she felt when she went to her friend's house and the house was spotless, her friend was mortified. She said, "You have no idea how stressful it was to try to get everything dealt with and everything cleaned up and vacuumed and all the toys put away and everything for everybody to come home to, so when they came, they saw it. Like it's just we put all this pressure on ourselves, right? So
I
it's
had
just
my
this
son's communion party
reframing.
at my house this summer, and it was July,
Yeah.
like the weekend of July 4th. And it was up to the last minute. I had piles in my upstairs, which, people are going to want to walk upstairs to my house, which I don't know why. And I had to put stuff and throw it all in the room. It's still in there, by the way, since July. My sister took the kitchen and I tried my best, but there's never enough time when you're planning a party and let alone you have this problem. She swiped a whole bunch of stuff. I have two big brown bags. They're still in my living room behind the couch with stuff that was on the counters from July. That's how bad it is. I understand the pressure of trying to look good, trying to And because people do judge, I'm sorry. I would judge too. The house was a mess, but I just feel I don't want people here because I don't want them to see my mess and my imperfections. And then I let them in. Other people, at different times, they see it. And then I never stop hearing about, oh my gosh, you should be on the hoarding show. And so I'm like, you know what? I let them in. I shouldn't have. Now they're judging me. And you feel awkward. You do. And I just tell them, look, I'm a single mother. I've been mom and dad since day one. And I work full time. I have 2 kids. But it still doesn't sit in them like, oh, well, you must make time for it. Like, I'm at sports. I'm here. I'm a religion. I'm doing this. I'm like, there's just no time. I said, if the only way I can work, I need to work alone. I just know myself. The kids have to be out of the house. But my mom's
Yes.
passed. I don't have a help like that to watch. I don't want to pay $30 an hour for a babysitter and at their house. It's ridiculous. So I'm really kind of stuck with them. I don't have family that's going to watch them. Not that being stuck with them is bad. It sounds horrible, and they hear me talk about that all the time, which isn't good either. Like, I need to be alone. I need to be alone. I can't focus. And now my little 8-year-old is running around the house. Mom, I can't focus. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got that from me. Trickle,
Yes.
trickle, trickle down effect. I want to stop it.
Yes.
I want to stop it. Mm-hmm.
But why should you worry about what other people are judging? Like if people are judging you in that way,
Yeah,
are they really your friends?
you're right.
Right?
It's my
Because they
family
know.
mostly, but yeah. But it's like the ongoing joke about Jill can't get her crap together. And I'm like, and I used to explain myself. I'm like, but you have a husband, but you have this, and no, and they don't want to hear it. And I'm like, okay, why am I defending myself? And I think there's a
Don't,
lot of
yeah,
tension with those
don't
people that judge
don't
me.
defend yourself. Like really, you just have to, well, I mean, it's easier for me to say you
I
have to do
know.
it, but I have had to do a very similar things to my own family. It's just I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to defend myself. You know this. I know that you've been through similar things. So
Yeah.
why you're judging me
Why
when you've been through the
judge?
same thing?
Nope.
And they do
Ah,
they do stop. They do eventually um they do
but do they
eventually like pay
really?
attention to your boundaries, but
Oh, gosh. All right, Jade, I'm so sorry. We have to go. Great conversation today. Thank you for sharing. And I want to hear more of the people you're working with. But how do we contact you and how did you want to sum up today?
perfect. So my website is www.tarotbynature.com. My email is admin@tarotbynature.com. And I found this amazing quote by a spiritual teacher and motivational author, Louise Hay. And it says, "You have been criticizing yourself for years and
Hmm,
it hasn't worked. Why don't you try approving of yourself and see what happens?"
beautiful.
I,
All
I
right.
think that's words that we can all live by.
Absolutely, sweetheart. Thank you so much. How do we contact you?
Admin@tarotbynature.com is my email. That's probably the best way.
All right. Thanks again for being here. I can't wait to talk more next week. Thank you. I'll give you an update. I'm trying so hard. All right. I was in my attic last
Take
night for
care.
3 hours. Bye. I'll tell you later. Bye bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.